Hello everybody, Yason here back again with another video. So in today's video we are going to design this beautiful image gallery using HTML, CSS and some JavaScript. So as you can see here, this is the end product of what we are going to design in this video, and it is a filterable image gallery. We are going to add the functionality using JavaScript to filter the specific product we have in this image gallery or in this list of items. So as you can see, I have a bunch of items here. Actually, these are only three items. I have laptops, clothes, and shoes. So as you can see here, I have the tabs, which is say all products, clothes, laptops, and so if I click on clothes, this one will fetch for me all the clothes, all the data with the clothes that contain clothes, all the data that has clothes, it will fetch for me. The same applies to laptops and then shoes. So this is the project we are going to build. We are going to design this one from scratch with you guys. So without further ado, let's get started. So here I have my text editor. I open my text editor. I created a folder called Filterable Image Gallery. And then inside Filterable Image Gallery, I have one folder and three files: index.html, index.js, and then style.css. And then I have the folder of assets. So in our index.html, as you can see, we have the empty folder. It is only the empty file, which is just the boilerplate of HTML. So we are going to start coding from scratch. Before we get started coding, I'll really appreciate if you people give me a like to my videos, subscribe to my channel, and even hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I create such amazing content like this. So let's get started, guys. Inside our index.html, the first thing I'm going to call a section, and then I'm going to give it a class of container. Let me zoom this one in so that it can be easier for you to see what we are doing. So like this is okay. Inside this container section, I want to take filterable buttons here. So I'm going to put all those four buttons you're seeing here. I'm going to say button. Then I want to give it the first thing I have to give it inside. I have to enclose it in a whatever in a parent element. So this parent, I'm going to give it a article with the class of. So here I'm going to give it a class of filterable buttons or filter buttons. Will be okay. Filter buttons. So this is where our buttons is going to be in. Inside filter buttons, I have to put all those four buttons we have. So this is where I'm going to say button. And then the first button, I want to give it a class of active because it is going to take that active class. It is going to light in blue color. So I want it to show every item there. So this one is the active or the default, whatever, the default design or the default function of it. So I'm going to give it a data. Yeah. So the data name, I'm going to give it all like this. So here I'm going to say all products. All right, but we have to change this speed just to capital letter. Let's capitalize this one and then create our next button. I'm going to copy this one and paste it few more times, 4 times, and then I'm just going to change from all products here to clothes. I'm going to change all of them. So here in our data type, in our data name, we have to change also the name. I'm going to give this one clothes, shoes, and then this one I'm going to give it laptops. So perfect. If I save the file, let me first take this one out, and then let me come and then open my live server. So as you can see, we have all those buttons there. So the first thing I want to remove all these ones with the class of active. The active I'm going to remove from all these three buttons except for the all products. So like that, that's what we want to achieve. So after saving that one, we have to go now to our products where we're going to display all our filterable images. So I'm going to do everything. I'm going to write everything in this same section in this container. So just downward here, I'm going to say filterable image. Yes, images, yeah. So inside this filterable image, I want to give it an article, and then this article I'm going to give it a class of filterable image. So inside this filterable image is where I want to now display the image wanted to display in the page. So I'm going to say article, and then this article I'm going to give it a class of cut, and I want to give it the data type, the data name. I'm going to set data name here is called the laptops now. Remember, I have this data name here, so it has to match. This data names has to match. So inside it, I'm going to display the image. And I have all my images here in my folders in this folder called assets. So I'm going to use all my images. So I have to come to this SRC and just go to that folder and then choose the image I want. I'm going to use laptop one. I don't want alt. I'm going to remove it out. So after the image, I want to display an article and then give it a class of cat body. Inside the cat body, want to display the cat title and then the cat description. So I'm going to put this one in head 6. I want to give it a class name. The class name is going to be of cat. If I can type cat underscore title, and then the title here, I'm just going to give it laptop, like that. Perfect. So after this one, I'm going to say p, and then this p I want to give it a class of cat underscore text. I'm going to display some lorem ipsum here, and I just want three words only like that. So If I save the file and then come to my browser, as you can see, this is what we have. So we want to apply some styling to our HTML and then see how it will look. So here in my HTML, as you can see, I've linked up my CSS here. So I'll just go to my CSS and start playing around with that designing. So I'm using here poppins. You can get poppins from this URL in Google Fonts. You go to Google Fonts and search for poppins, poppins like that. So it will pop up here. Then you just select the type of the font weight you want, then you use it. So let's continue with our designing in CSS now. I'm going to target the body. Then in the body, I want to give it a minimum height. So the minimum height, I'm going to give it of 100 viewport height. And then I want to give it a background color. So the background color, I have a color code. It's going to be E7, F2, and then FD. So this is kind of white color, and this is the color we are using for our application. So I want to target the class of container. Remember, we have the class of container in our HTML. Let me come back here in the HTML, and then it is here we have this class of container. So this class of container is the one we are targeting now in our CSS. So in our container, I just wanted to give it, for the first thing, I want it to be position of relative. Then I want to give it a maximum width, and then the maximum width is going to be of 1024 pixels. I want to give it a width, so the width is going to be of 100%. Some padding is going to be applied in every side. It's 20 pixels. Then I want to give it some margin. The margin is going to be from top of 50 pixels and then left and right to be automatic, so that it can bring everything in the center. As you can see, our image and the button, they are now in the center of our page. Perfect. So let's target our filterable buttons. Let's just come to our HTML here and then copy this code, copy this class. So in our CSS, I'm going to target this class. I want to give it a display of flex. Then I will align everything to be in the center. Then I'm going to give it some gap. The gap is going to be of 10 pixels. So I want to give it a flex wrap so that it will be responsive. And then the flex wrap is going to be wrap. If I save the file and then come back, you can see there's no difference. But we have to now target the active class. Remember, we have the active class in our HTML. I'm going to give you the background color. So the background color is going to be this color code. I'm going to type the color code here first, 40, 70, and then F4. This is the color code. It is kind of bluish. And then I want to give it the color of white, so that our text will be white in color. Perfect. Our active button is now okay. Let me just save the file so you can see how it is. So this is our active button. Perfect. So let's target every button we have there, because we want to give them all the same styling. I'm going to target the buttons, and then the first thing, I want to give some padding to all those buttons. I want the padding from top to be at least 10 pixels, and then left and right to be kind of wide of 20 pixels, which is very perfect. And then the font size, I want to give the font size to be, the font size of this text, I want it to be 18 pixels. Perfect. After giving the font size of 18 pixels, I want to give it some background color to the button, and then some border. Let me say background color, and then the background color I'm going to give it is this white color, and then border. The border is going to be 9 because we are going to remove all the borders. Our, our borders is going to be taken off. So the next thing we want to give in our list, which is our border radius. So the border radius, I'm going to give it of 6 pixels. I just want something slight that will see a little bit rounded. And then when we hover it on it, we want some finger, that finger to show on to indicate that we are actually on the button. So after that, I'm going to give it a box shadow. So this box shadow, I'm going to give it this 0, 0. Then I'm going to give 10 pixels. So from there, I want to give the color to be in RGBA. It takes the alpha, the A which stands for alpha, and it is for the opacity. And then I'm going to give it like this. It has to be 0.5, 0.05. This is what we want. After saving this file and then come back to my browser, as you can see, our buttons are here and they are perfect now. Perfect. Now let's move to the image and then play around with the image also. I'll come back to my HTML. I'll just take this class of filterable image. I'm gonna copy this and then come back to my CSS. In my CSS here, I'm going to give it some display of flex. That's the first thing I want to give it, and then I want to give some margin from the top. Margin from the top of 25 pixel will be okay with me. 25 pixels, and then I want to give it some gap. The gap is going to be of 20 pixels. Perfect. Then after that, I want the border radius. Every cut there. I mean, the first thing I want to make it to be responsive, so I have to give it whatever a flex wrap of wrap. So that one's perfect like that. So after that, let's target our cut. After targeting the cut, I want to give it a flex base, which it actually stands like for. Let me just first type. Flex basis stands for the width of the element we want to give it. So this I'm going to give it a width of 230 pixel. Then I'm going to give some background color. The background color, I'm going to give it a white background color. That perfect. By giving it white background color, I want some padding and border radius on it. So let me give it a padding, and then the padding I'm going to apply in every corner, which is going to be of 3 pixels, and then the border radius. So I'm going to give it a big border radius of 8 pixels. Perfect. So this is for our card. If I save it and then come here, as you can see, our card is here and it is kind of big. We just have to play around with it. Okay, we're going to play around with the image because the image is the one that is making our card to look big. So let's target our card first thing. And then in our card, we want to target the IMG because the image is inside the card. I want to give it a width, and then the width is going to be of 100%, and I want to give it a height. So I'm going to give it a height of 180 pixels. So this is the height I want to give it, and then object fit. Object fit is going to be of cover. For giving it the object fit of cover, I just wanted to give some border radius now to the top and right. So I'm going to say border, if I can type border radius. So border radius from top it is going to be of 8 pixels, right of 8 pixels also, 8 pixels, then 0 0. If I save the file, then you can see, let me refresh it here. It's not taking any effect because this one is not a class, this one is actually a real image. So our problem is we put the dot, so we just remove the dot from here, then it will work for us. So this is what we get here, and it is kind of amazing. I really like that. So after the image, let's target now the what, the title. I'm going to say cut underscore title. So that's how we called it, and I'm just going to give it the font size. The font size I'm going to give it of 20 pixels, which is going to be okay. And then I want to give it a font weight. The font weight I'm going to give it 600, not 6000. Then after giving it a font weight of 600, then I'm going to give it some color, and then the color is going to be 333, which is kind of black color. Perfect. Let's target our text now. I'm going to say cut underscore text. In this cut underscore text, I just wanted to play around, also give it some font size and then the color. So I'm going to just copy this one for the title. I'm going to copy it and then paste it here, but I'm going to remove the font weight, and then I want to take the font size out, and then the font size is going to be of 18 pixel. But here, as you can see, I make a typo. I give it a font size of 200 pixels, which is very big. I want to give it a font weight of 20 pixels only. So after saving it, then you can see perfect. Our cut is amazing. So this is what we want to achieve in this simple design. So our design is finished. We have to now play around with our JavaScript code. So to write our JavaScript code, first thing we have to do is to go to our HTML, come to our HTML, and then we link our JavaScript using this line of code. If you didn't link it, you just link it. This is how we link JavaScript. So after linking the JavaScript, we want to now open our JavaScript file and then play around with our JavaScript. The first thing I'm going to call the buttons. All the buttons I have in my HTML, I'm going to call them in the JavaScript and then give them an on-click event listing. So I'm going to say cons. I'm just going to call it buttons, and then document, query selector, all. So we are using query selector all because the button has the what? There are some the button are four in numbers. There are multiple buttons. That's why we are using those four. So to target those buttons, I'll use this one. I'll use this class name of filter, and then I want the button just like that. That's what I want. Then after that, want to define the what? Want to define the click event listener. So I'm going to say buttons dot add event listener. For adding the event listener, because we are getting a note list here, this button is returning for us a note list. For you to believe that, let me console log. So I want to console log the buttons, and then if I come to the browser and then open my console, so as you can see here, it is a note list. So we want to look through this button and then get a specific button from these buttons. So for us to do that, I'll just come to my text editor and say buttons dot want to loop through it using the for each function. So in this for each function, I'm going to give it a callback name, variable name, and then it is going to be btn, which is going to take this callback function, and then I'm going to say btn. In each btn, when we click the button, want to give it a event listener, and then the event listener is going to be of click event, which is perfect. After giving the event listener of click event, we want to give the call our function, which I'm going to say filter cut, like this. So we don't have this function, so want to define our function here, up here. For us to do that, let me just say definition of function. Okay, we have to say filter cut, but before that, I have to put const filter cut, and then I'm going to use this arrow function. So this is the arrow function I'm going to use, which is going to take the target, um, the event. So the event after inside the event, want to get the value with the active, the button with the active class. So I'm going to say document dot want to get what. First thing, let's use query selector, and then want to get the class of active. So remember, the class of active is our button. So inside this button, want to get the class list, and then want to remove that class name of active out from our button. After removing it, so want to target the e.target. Let me say e.target like this, and then here I want to target the class list. So the class list dot add. This function here is targeting the current button which is clicked. Okay, the current button which is clicked. So want to give it the class of active. So in this line here, we are removing it from the default, and then we are now giving it to the current button we have. So after that, let me just save the file and then show how it is working. So as you can see, if I click on each and every button there, it detects the active class and gives the background to be blue, and then the text color which is white. Perfect. So after that, what do we want to do next? We want to filter now our images or our product place. So I'm going to give this one, I'm going to call it a cut, and then in the cut I want to get the filterable image. Let me come here and then copy this class of filterable image, come to my JavaScript file, and then paste it here. Just perfect. And then I want to target every class of cut like that. Perfect. After targeting that class of cut, inside our function, we want to take the what? We want to take the cut, just declare, and then give it a class list. And then the class list is going to be, but before the class list, I'm sorry, we have to iterate through the cut because it is also going to give us a node list. So we have to iterate through our cut. To iterate through our cut, you already know, we use the what? The for each function. And then the for each will take, let me give it cut, and then it will take this arrow function. Inside the arrow function, we want to hide now, want to hide the initial cut. So I'm just gonna type here in the comment height, initial cut. It's something simple like that. So after that one, I want to now actually write a function that can hide for me the cut. I'm just going to say cut, which is this cut here. If you don't know where this cut is coming from, we are getting it from here. So this is the one we are using it here. So we want to get its class list. I'm going to say class list, and then in the class list we want to add now. So what we want to add, the class name of height. So you are going to ask me a question like where did I get that whatever? Where did I get the class list of the class name of height? Height, we did not define height in our HTML, in our CSS here. So in order for us to get it, to get the function working, we have to make sure to call height. So I'm going to get the cut, the class of cut, and then in the class of cut, I want to get the height. So here I'm just going to give it a display of none, and then I'm going to save. So this one here is now, it is now giving this cut, the current cut, it is going to give it a class name of height. So it is not going to show now in our page. So after that, we want to check if the cut is equals to the, if the cut is equals to the target cut. Like if I come here and then I click on this one, on clothes, if it is the clothes, want to display everything in the clothes. So for us to do, we are going to check for, want to check for a match, or let me say matching card, which is perfect like that. So what we want to check if the card, I'm going to say if card dot the data list, the data set, I'm sorry, if card dot the data set, I'm going to say dot dataset dot name is equal to e dot target dot dataset again dot name. If the name are the same, or if the targeted element and its data name is equals to all, then we want to what? We want to remove the class name or the class list of height. We want to remove the height, the class name of height from here. We want to remove it. So I'm just going to hit tab here, and then instead of adding, I'm going to remove it now like this. So if I hit on save and then come back to my browser, and as you can see, we have all products, and if I hit on cloth, it is not there, and if I hit on laptop, then you can see our laptop card is there, it is showing. If I come to sources, it is empty also. Back to products, you can see our laptop there. So in our HTML now, we want to manipulate it, like we want to duplicate this code. Okay, want to duplicate this code few more times so that we can see our cards, different cards. So I'm just going to copy this line of this code and the one I highlighted, and then paste it 3 times. I'm just going to use 4 images here. So here in the first image, I'm going to use a cloud. I'm going to change this one to cloud 1 and make sure this data name to be the same like the one in the button. So we call that one clothes. And then here I'm just going to give it the title of clothes, of cloth, not clothes, like that, which is perfect. and then I'll skip this one. I'll just give it a different image. Let me give it image 3, and then this one, the one I'm going to use now, this card for sources. I'm going to say source 1, and then I have to make sure the data name matches the data name in the button. I'm going to say sources. I mean this data name in the button, which is a sources, we have to match it the same as the name in the card. So they have to match. And here I'm going to say source. Like this, then I'll save and then come back to my browser. And as you can see, we have 4 items here. We have the laptop, the cloth, the laptop again, and then the source. So if I click on cloth, as you can see, it gave us the cloth card. And then if I click on laptops, it gives me all the laptops. The same applies to our source. So everything is now working as expected, and it is actually responsive because remember we use the flexbox, flex wraps, flex wrap and all those. So our application is responsive. As you can see, it is actually responsive. If I click on all product, and you can see our application is fully responsive. So this one makes the end of this tutorial, and if you really like this tutorial and really learn something on this tutorial, please hit the like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then share this video with friends. Share it with anyone, someone who wanted to learn also. Share it. Let's grow the channel together with you guys. So I'll catch you guys in the next video in the future, and bye bye for now.